thanks for watching Numbskull News, and today we're going to get back into the college realignment crap, but we're going to focus more on Pac-12 media. Some of these people, boy, they just cannot come to the realization that the Pac-12 is in major trouble and they're probably going to die. As a matter of fact, I think they're dead already. So I ran across this show on YouTube called The Monty Show. I'm not sure if it's actually like a radio show or some kind of streaming thing. I don't know. But they seemed kind of entertaining and whatnot. But they were kind of extrapolating a lot of crap from a media article, which, you know, a lot of people do. But the takes are a bit ridiculous, and we're going to get into that right now.
An article last night out of John Wilner in the San Jose Mercury News.
Right.
The headline that says night games can save the Pac-12. Nobody wants night games. Well, unless you're the Pac-12 trying to survive, because I think this is one of the best takes I've ever seen. John Wilner in the San Jose Mercury News, who is easily the best Pac-12 insider that I think exists in the media, wrote a piece where he quoted a former ESPN executive who said, yeah, Pac-12 After Dark gets you 1 million viewers on a Saturday night, and that's real money with real value to TV networks. What's the Big 12 going to do? Because the Big 12 doesn't have an exclusive kickoff window like the Pac-12 does.
Do they?
TV
Late
and money.
window kickoff time that BYU already enjoys to a certain extent.
Wait, what?
BYU, who, I mean, literally could play, you know, the College of Lake County, some, you know, community college, and get 1 million people to watch.
Yep.
The article by John Wilner, that's where all this stuff came from. And, you know, of course, us here in Big 12 country, we heard about that article as well. I'm sure it was well written. It's written by a guy who's trying to save his financial future because he doesn't want the Pac-12 to dissolve into nothingness. Because, you know, of course, but if he's a good journalist, he'll land on his feet somewhere. But you're talking about a lot of change. So if you live somewhere that you like and you're making the money that you like and you're doing what you love, it's kind of, you know, that you don't want that to change. Well, sometimes life gives you a whole big box of tough shit and you're going to have to make a change. The thing that destroys the article and destroys this Monty Show's whole point is the value of the late night game. All right, so you don't have exclusivity of the late night TV window anymore. The biggest reason why, because now USC and UCLA are now in the Big Ten. And as they just got through saying, BYU, which can also play home games in that window, are now in the Big 12. So where's the value? You're talking about, they said, well, that's $1 million or 1 million viewers in a game, right? On a Saturday night or a Friday night. Not anymore. Not for the Pac-12, not anymore. I guarantee you the Big Ten will have USC play at least a couple of games at night. And there goes all of your viewers for the West Coast viewer. They're gone. They're going to USC. And UCLA is going to have, hell, what? Their home games, at least 4 or 5 games in the late night window. Then there's the Big 12. They got BYU. That's 5 home games right there. I'm not saying they'll all be in that window, but could 2, 3, 4 of them be in that window? Yeah, absolutely. And like they said, BYU draws 1 million viewers regardless of who they play or what time they play. They have a very big and dedicated fan base. And next year, we're really going to find out because BYU, who's not even in the Big 12 yet, is going to play Baylor in a late night window. And I guarantee you that's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 million viewers with that matchup. So whatever exclusive thing they're talking about, it doesn't exist anymore. Now you're having to share that late night window with 2 other conferences right now with no more realignment. You're going to have to share it now. So there goes your exclusivity. There goes your 1 million viewers per game. Gone.
The Pac-12 and the Big 12 are equally as valuable. Neither one of them is worth more than the other. Perhaps, now I could be wrong, but perhaps the Pac-12 has more value than the Big 12.
Okay, which one is it? Is the Pac-12 and the Big 12 on equal footing? or is the Pac-12 more valuable? Now, he started leaning more. He started out with, they're pretty much equal. Now he started leaning towards Pac-12 because of the late night window, which, that's the fourth best window. They keep acting like it's just, so important. It's got value, but not when you split it up with three conferences. There goes your value. And not to mention, the most valuable time window are those 11 in the morning kickoffs, or it could be the 1 p.m.s. Either way, the best time zone for that's Big 12 country. Which the Pac-12 don't have. Because they keep acting like there's this advantage to the late night window. There is no advantage to it. It's actually a detriment. Because like I said, your most popular times to play football is 11 and 1. And then prime time's really close to that. Well, the central time zone's the best for that. That's what helps out the SEC and the Big Ten so much, because a lot of their schools are in central time. Most of the Big 12 schools are in central time. That's why brands like CBS and NBC want to do deals with the Big 12. That's already been out there. And who's fighting for the Pac-12 right now? Who wants those TV rights right now? Only ESPN. That's it. And what is their offer? $25 million a year. That's the rumored offer. And there's a little bit of evidence for that, because this week, all of a sudden, you got Colorado and Utah and Arizona and Arizona State. All of them are having these big board meetings talking about the TV deals, talking about conference realignment. Why are they doing it this week? And it's the same week that the rumor of the $25 million a team offer from ESPN has come down. Problems, and not to mention a very reputable company. And look, if I was any kind of a good YouTuber here, I would know the name of that company, but I don't. You can look it up. There's Google. Kiss my ass. But there is this projection from a very well-known firm. People use it for everything, whatever. That projected out the TV revenue that each power conference would be getting in the next, whatever it is, 8-10 years. And of course, Big Ten's number 1, SEC's right behind them at number 2. But surprisingly, the Big 12, minus Texas and Oklahoma, and the ACC are right there deadlocked. Pretty damn close at 3 and 4. So who's the furthest one down the totem pole? All the way down at the bottom. And it's a big, big gap. And if there's any truth to that $25 million a year type of crap, then that projection is probably on the a little over what it should be. So what does all that mean? That means the Pac-12 don't really have any value, especially when you have Oregon and Washington that are still trying to get into the damn Big Ten. They would leave in a second for the Big Ten. So where's your value? The late night window doesn't have the same value as it used to, because you don't exclusively have it anymore. And ESPN isn't going to offer you dick. So where's your value? Cal? You don't even have the California market anymore. Cal doesn't draw shit for ratings, and neither does Stanford. All your California ratings are now in the Big Ten. There's no value in this conference anymore.
And by the way, why haven't more teams been knocking down the door of the Big 12? Pac-12 still got Oregon. Washington still hasn't left. Utah still hasn't left. Colorado still hasn't left. Is it not alarming to anybody else besides myself that nobody has moved? Nobody. UCLA and USC shocked the world. Oregon's leaving. Okay. Where'd they go? Oh, that's right.
The ink isn't dry yet.
They haven't gone anywhere. The ink isn't dry yet. They haven't gone anywhere, man.
They haven't done anything.
Okay, well, they kind of destroy that point with what they just said. The ink isn't dry. Exactly. The ink isn't dry on the USC and UCLA applications to the Big Ten. There hasn't been enough time for any more movement. I mean, just look at what happened last year with the Big 12, right? Texas and Oklahoma leave. It takes a couple of months for all the dust to settle, and then for the Big 12 to now find the path forward, which was to bring in the next 4 available teams, the best teams of the non-Power 5, and bring them into the conference. This crap doesn't happen in a handful of weeks. All right, there's a lot going on, and there's even more going on with the Pac-12 because it's a little different now, because now you have another conference willing to take teams when before there wasn't, right? The Big 12 would have split up. I mean, if the Big 10 wanted Kansas, they would have got them. If the Pac-12 wanted Oklahoma State and wanted Texas Tech, they would have got them. And that would have been it for the Big 12. Big 12, see you, bye. Doesn't exist anymore. However, that didn't happen. But unfortunately now, yeah, there's another conference that wants Colorado and wants Arizona and Utah. So, but you got to wait for things to, they got to wait for things to play out. Like, what is ESPN going to offer? You got to get more information before you can just make a move. Are people just supposed to make a move within 24 hours of USC? That's stupid. This is big time business. Tens of millions of dollars on the line. People are going to take their time and really see what's going on. And by the way, so is the Big 12. They're not just automatically going to start sweeping in teams. I mean, they could have easily merged with the Pac-12. The Pac-12 would have loved that shit. But financially, it kind of screws over all the Big 12 schools and the money they can make. So why do it? That whole little argument, I mean, you're grasping at straws. I know it's desperation time over there at Pac-12 land, but that's what it is, dude. I mean, let's see where things stand in a couple of weeks, and I think the Monty show is going to be like, oh damn, I guess this time window really doesn't mean shit. Oh man, I guess it just took a couple more weeks for these teams to leave because they're going to.
There ain't anybody in a hurry to sign a grant of rights for a decade in the Big 12 or the Pac-12. There's not a school on the planet that's like, hey, where do I sign my rights away for TV for 10 years in the Big 12?
Yeah.
Because if that were the case, Utah would have done that already. And if that were the case, San Diego State would have done that already.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me San Diego State will not sign a 10-year deal? And look, there are reports that the Big 12 can possibly get up to about $60 million per team in revenue. You want to talk about who's more valuable? $60 million, possibly, per team in total revenue. You don't think San Diego State would jump all over that? You don't think they would jump all over a 10-year deal to go into the Pac-12, a new weakened Pac-12? At the ESPN's $25 million a year? San Diego State is making $6 million a year in the Mountain West. They don't make shit. Now, they get to advance that money 4 or 5 times for the next 10. Yeah, I think they'll do that. But really, I don't think the Big 12 wants you. They don't. They don't. I don't think they want anything to do with San Diego State right now. Maybe in the future. But right now, no, they got their eyes set on bigger schools in bigger places.
And oh, by the way, there's going to be a derby for San Diego State. Oh, so you lost USC and UCLA? You don't have Southern California anymore. Well, until we add San Diego State, the Aztecas!
All right, I kind of like that guy's personality a little bit. But, you don't replace USC and UCLA with San Diego State. That's not going to happen. That's not a replacement. Like, well, at least you still get part of Southern California. No, you don't. Not compared to USC and UCLA. No, you don't. It doesn't matter. Oh, it's a San Diego market. Doesn't matter. There's no replacing that. I mean, look, Adam, if you want to, I'm sure the Aztecas or whatever would love to be part of whatever new weak-ass Pac-12. They would love that. But like I said, the Big 12, they wouldn't look at San Diego State for years down the road. I don't. They just got bigger fish to fry right now than San Diego State.
From a geography standpoint that I think is so awesome for the Pac-12, from a leverage standpoint, because you are in California, you are on the West Coast. You do have, I think the stat was 6 of the top 30 major metros in the country. You've got all these major cities and major markets that are super attractive that people want to be involved in. Like who wants to be involved in Oklahoma State, right? Like, with all due respect, it's not Southern California.
Stillwater. Look at the size of the antlers on that bull.
Don't sass me, Burkus.
Man.
All right, this is just some narcissistic, dumbass shit right here. Look, USC and UCLA leaving the Pac-12. That kills the Pac-12. It's not going to die in one day, but it is going to die. You are now injected with stage 4 cancer. You're going down. There's no getting out of it. And you want to talk shit on Oklahoma State? Oklahoma State was the 22nd ranked school last year in overall TV ratings. 22. That beats everybody in the Pac-12 except for Oregon and Washington. And you want to talk shit. Your major markets mean nothing. If you don't believe me, ask Rutgers. That's the number one market in this entire hemisphere, New York City, and they don't mean shit to the Big Ten. Jack shit. Rutgers brings no value at all to the Big Ten. Not for their TV deal, not for anything. And you want to talk shit about, we got all these major markets. Who cares? Texas and OU leaving the Big 12? It doesn't hurt the Big 12 as much. Here's why. There's no centralized market anywhere in the Big 12 that you get all your power from. You just don't. I mean, think about it. Oklahoma is in Norman, Oklahoma City. That's not anywhere near one of the largest markets. All right. UT, they're in Austin. It's a bigger market, but it's nowhere near as big as Houston or Dallas-Fort Worth. No. It's damn sure not as big as, like, I don't know. What does the Pac-12 have left? Portland? No. Portland's way bigger than Austin. What about Seattle? Way bigger than Austin. What about San Francisco? That's way bigger than Austin. But the University of Texas whoops y'all's asses every single year in ratings. I mean, destroys you. They destroy everybody but a handful of teams in this nation every year. And they're in Austin. They're not in New York. They're not in LA. They're not in Chicago. They're not in San Francisco. They're not in Miami. They're not in Philadelphia. None of the most giant markets in the world, they are not in. They're in Austin, which is growing. But even before the growth, they had, they destroyed damn near everybody in college football in ratings. And you want to talk shit about Stillwater? I mean, look, I wrote it down. I wrote it down right over here. All right. Oklahoma is number 22 overall in ratings. Iowa State, 27. Cincinnati, coming into the Big 12, number 28. Baylor, number 30. Let's see here. West Virginia is number 40. TCU, 41. BYU, 42. Texas Tech, 45. And Kansas State, number 50 overall in ratings. So in the top 50, the Big 12 have 9 of the highest rated programs in college football. In the top 50, they have 9 of them. The Pac-12, if you take out USC and UCLA, have 3. Oregon, Washington, and I can't even remember the other one. just to be honest, I can't even remember the other one. Whatever, maybe Utah, but that's it, folks. You got 3, we got 9, and I guarantee you, when UCF gets into the Big 12, that's going to be a ratings boost. When Houston, in that giant market, comes in, because what is that, the 4th or 5th biggest market in the U.S.? It's probably only going to be Kansas that can't draw dick. But probably all the rest of the schools are going to be in the top 50. Well, we got California. There's a mass exodus out of California. If you haven't been paying attention, those markets don't mean dick when no one pays attention to the team. No one cares about the team. In the Big 12, it's not about the market. It's about the brand. It's about what do you do on the football field. And in Texas, man, this is Friday night lights country. All right, California's a great football state. I'm not saying it's not. It pales in comparison to Texas, though. The interest level. Huge interest in just high school. Now, ramp that up to college. The interest is through the roof in Texas. People love college football. And it's not based on a market. I mean, you got people coming out of the farming fields and shit and pulling up to a game on Saturday night. It's like that all over the Big 12. Doesn't matter if you're in Kansas. It doesn't matter if you're in Oklahoma or Texas. So that patronizing little shit on this show can kiss my ass, because you could take all those large markets and shove them straight up your ass. They don't matter. They're not valuable enough. Now, if everyone in those markets watched those teams, you would have a whole nother story, but they don't. They're watching the Trailblazers. All right. That's what they're watching. They're watching the 49ers. You know, no one gives a shit about Stanford or Cal. No one's watching those teams. Nobody.
The Big 12 and Notre Dame could be a really powerful marriage.
Yeah.
I mean, if Notre Dame wants 75 to 100 million a year for TV, they need the Big 12. And if the Big 12 can get San Diego State to Bohica and sign that grant of rights, game changes. I think it's fascinating. Greg,
Yeah.
Now let's go ahead and ixnay the San Diego State crap. I think I've made that stuff clear. I don't think the Big 12 have much use for San Diego State right now. I don't think they really care. They got BYU. They got an entrance into that late night football game time if they want it. They're trying to get Colorado. They're trying to get Arizona. And that would just further them getting in there and stealing all those late night views from the Pac-12. However, I included this because the guy's actually doing some research. Now, weeks ago I did a video and I talked about NBC wanting the Big 12 to pair with Notre Dame. There was nothing written at the time. No one was talking about that at the time. I just kind of looked at the landscape and said, you know, look, NBC has been paired with Notre Dame for a very long time. Notre Dame is clearly using the Big Ten and whatever else to amplify the money that they could possibly get, because the more valuable they are, the more money they have. So if you have a gigantic conference like the Big Ten that's really desperately wanting you, well, that's a great bargaining chip to bring back to NBC and up your money. They would love to get to 75 million, but it's a negotiation, right? It's hard to go from like whatever it is, 22 million a year to 75. But could you get it to 60? Possibly. 65? Possibly. Would NBC willing to do that? They have the money. NBC is not poor or broke by any stretch of the imagination. They have the money and they would love to expand their footprint in college football. It would make sense for them to invest into the Big 12, pair them with Notre Dame. Now you're cooking. And by the way, Big 12's value is going up, because I guarantee you CBS is interested. Streaming services are also interested. I don't know. I just love the idea that this little idea I had of Notre Dame getting paired with the Big 12 on NBC, kind of a little bit of a brainchild I had weeks and weeks and weeks ago. So, yeah, it's a little win for me. So I wanted to bring that up. Anyway, that's all I got on this crap. Unfortunately, Pac-12 people, I know it's hard to say goodbye. It's hard to scoop in that last shovel of dirt on the grave of the Pac-12. I understand. All right. Big 12, I mean, it was on life support last year. But so I get it. But as you see, these guys, there's equal value. Pac-12 is actually more valuable. They don't know what they're talking about. They're talking out their ass. The Pac-12's nothing now. And it's going to continue to be nothing. Anyway, that's all I got on this crap. I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.